What's up, guys? Today we have my UFC 308 fight predictions. We got a lot of good fights coming up this weekend, and I'm going to give you guys my main card predictions. That's right, guys, just the main card. If you guys are new here, we make UFC 5 content, but it's very entertaining. If you don't even play the UFC games, I know you would love the UFC 5 content. So give that a try, please, if you do enjoy this video. Really entertaining, but let's get right into it. First up, we got Shah Magomedov versus Armen Petrosyan. Guys, everyone's going with Shah Magomedov, and I am too. He has too much going for him to lose. The UFC is building him up at a good speed, and I mean that truly. Like, they're building him up at a good speed. They're not throwing him in to the Bo Nichols. They know what they're doing with Shara. He has a iconic look to him. He has one eye pretty much. They know what they're doing with him. They're going to give him good fights that he can win. And regardless even of all the marketing and business strategies, I'm going to pick him to win this anyways. 14-0, undefeated, coming off a knockout. But I will say this, he took forever to get that knockout in that last fight. That dude took the fight on short notice, was gassed out after like the first few minutes of that fight, was just waiting to be knocked out. Took him a while. Eventually he did get it though, so I will give him that. But I think he's going to win this by decision. Armen Petrosyan good, but someone like Shah Magomedov is just going to win an easy decision against him. I don't have too much to say about that. I will say Shah Magomedov, I love his body kicks. We'll see if he uses those. But yeah, great body kicks from Shah. He knows sorry guys, police just drove by, but he knows exactly when to throw his body kicks. He's really good with his kicks. I'm picking him to win by decision. If he gets a knockout though, I will be very surprised, and I would love to see that. Moving up the card, we have Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. Interesting fight, guys, but Magomed, similar situation to Shara. He's pretty much undefeated, guys. I know he had one loss on his record, one no contest, but that one loss he had was a Hail Mary submission by Paul Craig. I remember watching that fight. I think I watched it after the fight happened. I was just interested to see who he lost to, and I was surprised he lost to Paul Craig. So I went and watched that. He threw up like a triangle choke with like 10 seconds left, and I don't even think Magomed knew the round was almost over, and he tapped to it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You guys should go back and watch that if you haven't. But Magomed's gonna win this. Yeah, too much on the line for him to just make a stupid mistake and get knocked out. I'm going for Rakic. I want to see Rakic win, right? But Magomed, he's too good. Good wrestling. We don't see it all that much, really. And he's just smart on the feet. I'm gonna go Magomed by decision. Moving up the card, another very interesting fight. We have Lerone Murphy versus Dan 50K Ige. I'm going for Dan Ige in this fight, and I'm going to pick him to win. I know a lot of people are picking Lerone Murphy. He had a great fight against Edson Barboza, but styles make fights, guys. Dan Ige took his last fight on like a few hours notice against Diego Lopez. Shout out to him, but none of that matters. What I'm saying is he's been in there with Diego. He won that last round, and I feel like Dan Ige is just a better all-around martial artist. I feel like Lerone Murphy is more of a striker, right? He can mix it up, but I feel like Dan Ige is just going to be better at knowing when to clinch him and put him up against the cage, and I think he's just way more well-rounded, and I think he's going to just put on a pure mixed martial arts performance, like decision. Easy, I'm not gonna say easy. This is like a 50-50 fight. Lerone could win, but my prediction is Dan Ige by decision. I just don't think Lerone Murphy has really shown, like, he beat Edson, and Edson's one of my favorite fighters right now. He's like in my top 3. Man, I love Edson Barboza, but he didn't really show me that he can beat someone like young in their prime, kind of like Dan Ige. I don't know his age, but I think he's like mid-30s. And Lerone Murphy is probably like late 20s, maybe early 30s. But yeah, I'm gonna go Dan Ige by decision. Now, I'm honestly, I don't know if I'm more excited for this fight or for Holloway and Ilya, but we have Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. I'm going with Robert Whittaker, guys, and you can't blame anyone for picking Robert Whittaker. I just think he has everything to beat a guy like Chimaev, right? Chimaev's gonna come out strong in the first round, maybe. Maybe he changes it up and has a more slow approach. Maybe he saves some gas in the tank for a round 2 or 3 to really get going. But regardless, if it gets to round 4 and 5, Whitaker is winning this fight. We've been waiting to see this fight for forever. Chimaev's got sick, immune system issues, this and that. And like everyone else says, he hasn't really finished anyone that is a really good opponent. He hasn't finished Gilbert Burns. He ate big shots from Gilbert Burns in that fight. Arguably, some people think he lost to Kamaru Usman. I haven't watched it twice, but when I first watched the fight, I thought Chimaev won 2 rounds. One of them was really close. I know that obviously the first round was 10-9, well, 10-8 pretty much, 10-9, 10-8. But yeah, so I'm going Robert Whitaker. After seeing Robert Whitaker fight Ikram Aleskov and getting him out of there in the first round, he really showed levels. And I don't think he's gonna get Khamzat out of there first round. But if he finds a way to end it in the second or third, I would not be surprised at all. 4th and 5th, that's kind of what I'm expecting, or a decision. But I think Robert Whitaker's just gonna survive the early onslaught, and he's had 2 training camps for this. He's, we'll see how it all goes. But I think Robert Whitaker is going to beat Khamzat Chimaev, and I feel like I'm pretty confident in that pick. The only way Khamzat can win this, I feel like, in my mind, like we've seen in his past few fights, is getting him out of there early in the first round. And Robert Whitaker is just not one of those guys. If you're not getting Kamaru Usman on short notice and old, like if you're not getting him out of there, I don't see you getting Robert Whitaker out of there in the first round. Kevin Holland, different story. Obviously, I like Kevin Holland. He's one of my favorites too, but he's not Robert Whitaker. And he's not as good as Robert Whitaker, and he probably never will be. And he knows that too. He's just there for money. But enough talking about Kevin Holland. It's about this fight. I'm confident Robert Whitaker wins this either by decision or in the 4th or 5th round by TKO. Moving up the card, our main event of the evening, we have Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. Yesterday, I rewatched Volkanovski versus Ilia, alright? And the first round, I just know Alex was thinking, don't get put up against the cage, don't get backed up against the cage, don't do this, don't do that. And there were moments where he almost did, but he was really good about just not letting him back him up against the cage, and he was good at circling off. Second round comes in. It started looking a little dirty for Ilia, and Alex starts landing his jab. Ilia was starting to get busted up just a little bit. I think Alex got a little overconfident in a sense where he wasn't as sharp as he was in the first round, if that makes sense, and he let Ilia push him or pressure him up against the fence. They didn't really clinch much, but he let him pressure him up against the fence. And Ilia did that 2 times in that fight. He got him up against the cage 2 times. First time, Alex escaped. He circled off just fine. Second time, Ilia made the correct reads, and Alex, next time he got off the cage, he was on the ground and he was out cold. You cannot get put up against the fence against Ilia. And Max, his footwork is good. I feel like he gets put up against the cage at times, right? At times. But I think he's going to be a lot harder to get there than Alex. But I think he will eventually end up on the cage. And then it's a game of, will his chin hold up? But remember, by the time Ilia got Alex up against the cage, it wasn't looking too good for Ilia. His face was busted up. Alex was landing his jab. And, well, if that's Max in there, normally when that starts to happen, it's downhill from there. Their opponents don't really get going. But I'm going to go Max Holloway by decision, guys. I think his footwork is a lot better than Volkanovski in a boxing way. Volkanovski's more jumpy, almost like a karate stance, especially in that fight, the way he was bouncing bouncing side to side, bouncing off the cage, circling. It was more like karate, but Max's footwork is more boxing based and it's more fundamental. There's very little wasted movement, and I think Max is a lot better than Alex at that, and he probably has a little bit better chin. So this could go either way, another 50-50 fight, but I'm picking Max, and let's go by decision. Like I said, by the time Ilia got his knockout, things weren't looking too good for him. Now, he obviously overcame that and knocked Volk out, but it wasn't looking too good for him. And in the second round, if your nose is busted up and you're starting to slow down just a little bit, and Max is landing his jab, it's only downhill from there. 50-50 fight, but I am picking Max Holloway by decision. I also really do want to see Max win. I'm a Max fan. I think he's a great guy. Hopefully he gets it done. But if Ilya wins, he's also a great champ. He's going to make things interesting. And yeah, guys, that is my picks for UFC 308. If you guys enjoyed, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, guys, remember, if you guys want something entertaining to watch, check out that UFC 5 content. I know you guys will enjoy it, even if you don't play the games. Just if you like MMA at all, you guys will find those videos entertaining. So thank you guys so much. At the time of this recording, I don't know if we're there yet, but we're close to 1.1K. So thank you guys so much for all the support. Catch you guys in the next one.